All right, so this is our Monday masterclass. We do these every Monday. Sarah could not be on tonight. She had something that they had planned a long time ago, but we decided to still keep it. I love the Monday class, and I've actually had something that's been on my mind that I wanted to share with you guys. So tonight, we're going to talk about finding your fire and what that means. So, what is your fire? And first, let me say before I get started, this is not me talking to you or at you. It's me talking with you because all the things I'm going to talk about, I've done them. I might be like in this phase in my business right now. So I wanted you guys to know this is more like me linking arms with you, not kind of talking at you, but finding your fire. First of all, what the heck is your fire, right? It's kind of hard to put it into words. I've been thinking all day. I'm like, okay, how do I define it? Because it's not your why. It's not your goals. It's this fire in your belly, right? It's like this energy that you have that will make you do the things that you were actually born to do. And it's that fire that makes you do the hard things, the scary things, the new things outside of our comfort zone. It's this fire, though, that will keep us going, keep us persistent, help us be successful. It's the fire that keeps us disciplined when motivation has long gone out the window, right? And when motivation is nowhere to be found, you've heard us talk a lot recently on why you should be disciplined and not motivated because motivation is a fleeting emotion. Well, it's that fire that keeps us from slowing down and stepping back or even giving up and throwing in the towel. Right? But often in this business, okay, so I've been doing this almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in March. Often our fire goes out. We lose it, or maybe the flame gets so small that it's kind of hard to see. Or maybe you're just starting and you're like, what are you talking about, Amy? I never really had a fire to begin with, right? So regardless of where our flames are, we're going to add some gasoline to it. Because listen, 2019 is coming, and we've probably said this every year. If you've been with us, I'm sure like 2016 is going to be the best year, 2017, 2018. Now we're saying 2019, but that's because we are such a ground floor company, and every year we're making so many improvements that it's true. And I really feel like 2019 is where it's at. But it's not going to matter if we don't have that fire, right? So I'm going to be super vulnerable with you guys tonight. I'm going to be a little bit kind of raw because we've all been there, right? We've all lost our fire. We've all had our flame go out. Part of it is just time. You're never going to be more excited about Plexus than you are when you initially get going, right? And you get that first customer, that first ambassador, okay? It's kind of like when you've been married for a really long time, you lose that spark of the first kiss, right? Well, we're going to talk about how to get it back, okay? Because we all have been there where we get tired, we get negative, we get burned out. And then what do? We throw out the excuses, right? We lose customers, we lose ambassadors. Maybe you don't earn an incentive. Maybe you don't earn a prize. Maybe you worked really, really hard for something and you just are exhausted, right? Maybe we lose a rank. Maybe our paychecks drop and it sucks. Like, I get it. A lot of us come to this point. In fact, I would say every jewel in the company has been to that point. When we lose that fire, and then we feel like everything we have to do is a mountain to climb, right? And then we don't do anything. And then it's this vicious cycle. You're not in activity because you lost your fire, but you got to get in activity to get your fire back, but you don't have your fire. So it's like this vicious cycle. And we just feel like everything we're doing, we're just spinning our wheels. Nothing has a point. And then maybe you even start to think you won't be successful. Well, we're going to throw that out the window, because when you do that, guess what happens? We start blaming others, okay? We blame our team, our upline, our jobs, our kids, our spouses, our network, our circumstances, right? So I want you guys to be honest with yourself. Don't chat, don't raise your hand, but internally, if you've ever thought any of these, which I even have, so I know you have, I want you to think about that. And then pay attention for the rest of this call. And it's only going to be a quick little 30-minute call, right? But have you ever thought, well, my kids really, really need me, so I shouldn't be working Plexus, right? I should be spending that Plexus time with my kiddos. My husband isn't supportive, so I really don't think this is something for my family. My network is completely tapped out. Everyone is a fence sitter or no one's interested. How about I can't get any business builders? Nobody wants to work the business. Or, man, all my people quit. Like, what the heck? They've all quit. Or something I have been guilty of saying too, among some of these others, is, man, like my team, like they're not motivated. What's going on? Or how about my upline never taught me anything? Or my upline isn't active anymore. Okay. These are things we all do when our flame gets dimmer. But how often do we actually look at ourselves? Because for all of those things we just talked about, I know we can turn them all around, right? And we can point to our friends and our mentors in this business and other people who have the exact same circumstances, the exact same jobs and kids and spouse pressures and exact same networks, and they actually are successful, right? So you can turn all of those around and you can say things like, well, yeah, my kids need me. That's exactly why I need to work my Plexus business so I can have more time with them. Or my husband isn't supportive. This is why I need to prove him wrong and be successful. Or my upline isn't active anymore, but who cares? It's not her business. It's my business, right? So we can turn all of those things around. And, we know what we are and what we aren't doing. I know when I really self-reflect, and I'm going to be kind of vulnerable here in about 45 seconds. But when we really self-reflect, we know we haven't been doing the things, right? If you think your team isn't motivated, I bet you know that deep down you haven't really been motivated. Or if you think your network is tapped out, I bet you know deep down you're not doing what you need to do to grow that secondary, that third, that fourth, that fifth network, right? I do that all the time. I haven't been onboarding my new level ones like I should be. I've gotten lazy. I've gotten complacent. Maybe you haven't been on the team calls. You haven't been on the team page. You haven't been to the events. Like, we know these things about ourselves, yet when our fire gets dim, we blame everybody else, okay? So I'm going to share with you guys that I know my fire went out the past year, right? It was not the same flame I had back in 2016, 2015 even, okay? And I could have said it was the RV trip, right? Like, I had a big life change. I sold our house. Steve walked away from his job for a year. Like, we went down to one paycheck. I could have said my first network is totally tapped out, right? My first network took me to Emerald, and now it's like kaput. I could have said people don't really want to be healthy anymore, right? People just don't care. I could say I lost 6 senior golds who were my level ones. And so maybe I'm just not a very good leader. And I say that a lot. I internalize a lot that I'm not good enough to lead people to be a diamond. But guess what? Some of this stuff might be true, right? It may actually be true that, yeah, maybe my fire went out a little bit because of the RV trip. I had to take a step back. I couldn't be working my business like I should every day. But that doesn't mean it defines me, and it doesn't mean it's the reason why I'm not successful, right? It might be a truth, but I know that I'm the reason that I am not where I want to be. Not the RV trip, not my network being tapped out, because all of those things I have control over. I have control over my activity, right? So when this happens, we realize it, and then we end up not doing the things we know we really have to do. We know deep in our hearts that we can do this. I know, you guys know, this business is not hard, right? Beating cancer is hard, right? Like, divorce is hard, right? Moving into your own place for the first time, that's hard. Plexus is not hard, right? It makes us do things we're uncomfortable doing. It makes us do things we aren't in the mood to do sometimes, just like any other job. Like, who gets up every single day and wants to do their job? Well, unless you work at Plexus Corporate, those are the only people I've ever met in my whole life that literally want to get up every day and go to work. But because we lack this fire, we let it slowly distinguish and we get it out of activity. And this happens because we get scared. All right. We actually stop feeling that fire and that excitement, and we start thinking, right? So we start thinking, my network's tapped out. Man, I had so many ambassadors and quit. Oh man, all my people are under 100 PV. Oh man, I lost that customer. Oh man, my best friend, she won't even do this with me. We start getting in our heads. We start thinking, and then that gets us nowhere. We start to sabotage ourselves, guys, because the minute we have the tiniest bit of success, we actually ruin it for ourselves when we've lost that flame. Okay? How many celebrated for a hot second that you earned Leaders Retreat, but spent the rest of the time upset and disappointed and discouraged that you didn't get on the boat? How many people earned Silver Star one month, but then you got upset and you focus on all the other people that you lost and that have quit, right? We make these decisions based on fear, and that's how we get stuck in this circle of demise, right? And how we get stuck inside our comfort zones. We lose the fire. We don't do the things we should because we lost the fire. To get the fire back, we need to do those things, but it's a vicious cycle, okay? So how do you find your fire? How do you find it? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. And that's what I want you guys to spend along with me the next 4 weeks before 2019 to get our fire back. Okay. I want you to forget what your head says. Forget what your mind says. Forget if you didn't earn the incentive. Forget if your points have dropped. Forget this. All right. And I want you to listen to your heart. I want you to do something that scares you. And your heart doesn't necessarily mean you love it. It's just a feeling, okay? It's just a feeling of being afraid, of fear, of trusting your instincts, escaping your comfort zone, and just start doing what you've always loved to do, okay? I have never been more sure of a company and where we're headed than I am right now in 2019, okay? But we cannot wait until 2019 to find our fire. And this is something I've had to realize myself that I wanted to share with you guys. You know, it's easy to get complacent and get comfortable, but we've got to get that fire back, myself included. We've got to stop all of these things that we have in our head, and we need to add gasoline to our fire, okay? So I've been thinking a lot, and you want to know what my fire is? Yeah, I need this paycheck, okay? In fact, if my points drop anymore, we may have to cut the RV trip short. Like, that's just how it is. That's honesty. But that actually is not even my fire. That's not the fire that's in my belly. That's something I need. It's a necessity. But that's not the fire that keeps me up at night and excited for this business, okay? My fire is seeing my team get those ranks. That is a fire in my belly. You know what another fire is in my belly? It is not walking across the stage at convention again as a sapphire. And while that might seem silly to some people, and I know many people, most of you might love to be in that position, and that's okay. But that's my fuel that fuels my fire. So what is your fuel? It's not necessarily your why. It's not necessarily your goal. What is that fire in your belly? Okay. And how can we get it back? I got 5 things we can do, right? So here comes your action. We're going to write this stuff down. Got 5 things we can do to prep us to just rock and roll in 2019 with our fires raging. And I know Sarah is ready to rock and get her fire raging. We're also talking about some fun new things we can do and just improvements we can make, but we all want to lock arms and do this together. So the first thing is ask yourself why we started Plexus in the first place, right? Remember when you signed your first ambassador or your first customer? Did you just get not that like that excited feeling you wanted to high five someone? Or maybe you earned silver or gold, and if your upline's local, maybe they took you out, or maybe they bought you a little gift, right? Go back to those feelings, okay? Stop letting those who have quit, those who tell you no, stop letting those people determine the strength of your fire, okay? Help yourself remember that spark and live in that emotion. Try to remember why we started, right? I can remember why I started, and when I think about that, I can feel my fire getting stronger, okay? 2, ask yourself what has changed. Because honestly, sometimes, right, when you've been doing this business for a long time, you're in a different season of your business. And what I did in the beginning to get to silver and gold is not what I'm doing now. And for some of us, what we signed up for, oh my gosh, we've had to grow so much as a person, as a leader, as a friend. You know, that's not what it was like in the beginning. So think about what has changed, right? So sometimes that can be your fire. Maybe you had to go back to work. Maybe you had another baby. Maybe you went through a major life change, right? Maybe you moved. Maybe you sold your house and you lived in an RV. What changed? And then go back to finding those feelings that got you excited in the first place, right? The third thing, and I do this a lot, I haven't done it in a while. And when I was thinking of things tonight on how we can get our fire back, I was like, man, duh, like, why have I not been doing this? Find parts of this business that you love. Find what you love about Plexus. I like to call this filling your Plexus cup. What is it that you absolutely love about Plexus? Do you love helping people get results? Do you love sharing the products? Do you love the trips? Do you love the retreats? Do you love working on Facebook? Do you love online parties? Do you love sip and sees? Do you love opportunity events? Doesn't matter what it is. Find it. Find it and do more of that, right? Like nobody wants to sit down and do IPA. I'm going to be honest. There is no diamond that every single day is like, oh man, I cannot wait to sit down and do my work. Okay, it's like any job, right? But make a list of all the things you really love. Like really get your wheels going and think about all the things you love about Plexus, Zoom calls, online events, whatever it is. And then try to find a balance. Do more of those. If you don't like necessarily doing IPA or messaging people, sit down and do something that fills your Plexus cup first, that lifts your mood, flames your fire, and then do those tasks that we know we have to be disciplined to do, but they aren't as fun, right? So, and then for other tasks, delegate them if you can. Maybe you don't like doing laundry. Can you pay someone to do your laundry? Maybe you don't like doing new ambassador calls. Can a leader on your team do them for you? Or not for your people, but for your team, right? Maybe you have a team page and like calls are just not your thing, but you have a strong leader who loves them. Maybe you can delegate that, right? So look and find the things about Plexus that you love. Mine is in-person and opportunity events, and being connected with other Plexus people. Because listen, guys, as our fire dims and we start all these things in our head, we start feeling bummed. Like I'm guilty of it. I constantly, you can ask Sarah because she's probably tired of hearing it. I constantly think I'm not a good enough leader for my team. I constantly think that I'm not good enough, and I get into my head, and then guess what? Then I don't want to do anything because I feel like I'm not good enough. But I've got to, if you find those things that give you that spark, and mine is being around other people, fills my cup, gets me excited, gets me back in the game. So find those things that you love. The fourth thing, maybe your flame went down a little bit because you're maybe not burnt out, and maybe you didn't actually lose the fire. Maybe you're just tired, right? Like this happens a lot, guys, when we go for a big rank. Like after I hit Emerald, I was tired, right? After I've earned some of the big, like the shopping sprees, after you guys learned Leaders Retreat, right? Like you're tired, okay? So maybe you need to step back, and maybe it's just you're tired and you need to look at your priorities. Right? Look at I don't like to call it balance because I don't think you can actually be balanced between work and home, or work, Plexus, and home, right? A triangle. But maybe look for harmony, right? So are you spending too much time scrolling? Are you just like in the scroll, like the mind-numbing scroll of Facebook? That actually, guys, did you know when you just get on there and you scroll Facebook, it actually increases your anxiety and your negative mindset? I read some studies on that the other day when I was looking at that. I thought that was amazing because I've definitely done it, right? It's just like the mind-numbing scroll. Maybe you're watching too many videos. Maybe you're trying to do all of your IPA in one sitting. Maybe you're spinning your wheels and spending 4 hours a day on Plexus, but not doing anything. Maybe you're not time blocking. So instead of working a good 1 hour, you're on your phone just 15 minutes here and there all day long. And then your kids are mad, your husband's mad, you're mad, and you're tired and you're burnout. So take back and take stock of your week and your time and how you're spending your time, right? And then the last thing is to fuel that fire, find a mentor. Okay. I'll tell you what I have started doing again. This can be an upline. It could actually be a sideline, but I actually recommend it be your diamond or your jewel or a jewel. I only say that because they most likely have been there and done it to get to that point, right? A sideline may not yet. Like a sideline might be a great person to talk to, link arms with, go to the top together, but I'm looking for a mentor and for you and for us to be coachable and ask for coaching, right? Because there are things that I know my upline sees that I can improve in that I am not honest with myself, or I don't think it's something that I need to work on, right? So you have to be open to that coaching and help you get that fire back. And for me, it's reaching out to Sarah and having her hold my feet to the fire on a goal. Because, and this is my personality, this may not be yours. You have to know what makes you tick. For my fire, if I set a goal and she's checking in, when I see that message from Sarah come in that says, how you doing on adding 3 people? I'm like, oh, okay, got to do my IPA today. Like, it gets me going. Some people aren't like that, right? Find, though, that motivation and ask a mentor to coach you on some things they might see that you don't, okay? Because listen, guys, we did not come this far to come this far. Life is too short. This company is too incredible. Do you know Eric Worre? He is, the GoPro guy, right? He's like the network marketing, I don't know, grandfather or something. He's not Bob, right? Like Bob's the new network marketing. Eric Worre is like, he has been around forever. He's done it all, seen it all, and wrote the book about it. He says, what's the number one thing that you see network marketers make? And it's that they step back and they quit. And we're not going to do that. In fact, in his book, he says it's not even close. Like the one mistake they make has nothing to do with social media, has nothing to do with their onboarding, has nothing to do with any of that. He said the one mistake they make, it's not even close. They quit. Right? All of a sudden, they have this fire, Plexus is the best thing ever, and then they get in that negative mindset, right? They let those things determine their fire, and their fire goes out. If we can keep our fire going, you guys, we are going to rock in 2019. So here on the 30-day page, we still have our Monday masterclasses. I know Sarah and I are talking about how we can make major improvements, make it even better for you guys in 2019. But for the next, 5 weeks before 2019 hits, I want us on this page together to talk about how we're getting our fire back. All right. And I'm going to be completely vulnerable with you guys in there as I am doing things to get my fire back. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. And thank you guys for jumping on with me tonight. I have missed all of the comments. I'm so sorry. Okay. Let me stop recording and I'll go back through the 5 list.